I just visited the Bekal Fort in Kasargod, and I thought it very relevant to make a video about it because what I saw was very exhilarating and very exciting. First of all, I never thought Bekal Fort is a very big fort. I thought it was a very small fort. I was sadly mistaken. This is a fort which one must see during his lifetime or during his course of things. Where is this place called Bekal Fort? First of all, Bekal Fort is very well maintained by the government, the Archaeological Survey of India. They charge you 25 rupees to go into the into the fort. Let me add very quickly that Bekal Fort is around 40 acres of territory. It resembles in its appearance to the Bednur Fort or the Nagara Fort seen in Shimoga. In its size and magnitude, let me tell you what I did. I used to see a bus going to Kasargod every day near my house, and this curiosity to see this Bekal Fort was there for quite some time. So I boarded one of those Kerala State Road Transport buses and reached Kasargod via Madikeri. I think the bus left here at around 8:50 and reached Kasargod around 5 a.m. Kasargod is a very decent city. It's a decent place. What I was trying to tell is that the bus goes through Madikeri, Sulya. From Sulya, it takes a shortcut into Kasargod through some places called Muleria, narrow roads. The Kasargod bus stand is it's a very decent bus stand with a lot of information services. But with time, the space here will become very less. Buses are all parked in a very cramped way, with only maybe hardly a few half a feet of distance between two adjacent buses. I think that Kasargod district administration must immediately consider doing something about it. Either demolish that entire structure and build a new underground two-tier bus stand with like what we see in Calicut. The underground cellar can be used to park all buses, and the ground floor where buses can depart from, and the floor upwards used for various kinds of reservation and other kinds of offices. Now you get buses to Kanyangat very often here, around maybe 15 minutes. And every 5 minutes there's a bus to Mangalore. That's a very heartening thing. A very well maintained bus stand. Otherwise, I got a good budget room to stay here, and I was told that to reach this place called Bekal, you have to take the Kanyangat bus, which I took. From 15 kilometers from Kasargod is this Bekal Fort. There's a huge arch outside. You cross many rivers, but one of the key rivers you cross is the Chandragiri River. The Bekal Fort is adjacent to the sea. It is on a seashore. Adjacent to the point of confluence between the Chandragiri River and the sea. I don't know why such a fort was planned at this junction. There might be many professional and technical reasons for that. I could read that this fort called Bekal Fort. Near the Bekal Fort, there's another fort called a Chandagiri Fort. I will tell you about that. But I'll tell you all the kind of experiences that I went through. That's the right way in a chronological event. I was standing on the main road. Vishwanath's auto came. Somewhere I will give the phone number of Vishwanath, a very reliable auto person. He took me near the fort through the gates. Just to the gates is an ancient temple. People speak Kannada in this part of the world. Then what I saw was, I know what's the right word for fort, very exciting. I thought Bekal Fort was a small fort, not a small fort. As I told, it's a 40-acre fort, a 40-acre land. Largely seems to be to me some kind of a defense establishment more than anything else. And also a point where extraordinary trade must have happened. The beauty of this fort is apart from being a 40 acres place, there are two sources of water. One is a well when you enter, and another well, two wells. One is a big well. Thankfully, the government has fenced all that so that people don't make some error or an accident happens. Fairly well fenced, but anyone going to these places, we take extra care to see that you don't go very near this railing. The beauty of this is one of the watchtowers. There are two watchtowers here. I don't know how to put it. They're not two watchtowers. One major watchtower where you can anyone can climb on that watchtower. Maybe even horses can climb on that watchtower because there's some kind of a slant, a cube which you can walk up. Civil engineers can implement this, in modern day construction. And that slant takes you to a height of some 150 feet from where the sea and the beaches around are visible in a very fascinating way. I did climb that and stood on top and had a breathtaking view of the entire place. That place was most probably a watchtower. The most important thing is that there's an armory down very close by. An armory, two major water resources inside the fort, a major watchtower, an armory. Of course, I did not go to the armory. Adjacent to the armory was the place where you can load the guns, and all the guns jut into the sea. That means this was used some kind of a naval base by people of yore, because it's basically the orientation is towards the sea. Possibly they loaded cannons there, and they were fired into the sea. The cannon balls were fired into the sea at ships, which were inimical to the interests of the people within the fort, or someone who was coming trying to attack the fort from the seas. But that is one place where the guns were loaded. Outside the fort, very adjacent to the sea, also I found a place where guns are loaded. That means you can attack the enemy from very close range. Possibly both these platforms were used to attack enemies who were coming towards the fort from the sea. And still, my take of the situation is that some international trade has happened here since time immemorial. Largely, some kind of large kind of goods were stored within this fort complex, protected, and then loaded onto ships, maybe both day and night, for an exit from there to various destinations, possibly in the Arabian Gulf. The Archaeological Survey of India says that this fort has something to do with the Kadambas to start with. Please find out from somewhere. Even I want to see who these Kadambas are all about. From Kadambas, it has gone to the Vijayanagar kings. From Vijayanagar kings, it has come to the Kolathiris. The Kolathiris are the Malayali leaders or kings of northern Kerala. They, by and large, are of the Nambiar descent. The Kolathiris, the royalty of North Kerala. The royalty of North Kerala has been chased away from here by the Ikkeri Naiks. Ikkeri Naiks, the fort has fallen in the hands of Ikkeri Naiks. Sometimes the credit to the construction of this fort is given to Ikkeri Naiks. I don't know, that could be a possibility where the Ikkeri Naiks have renovated the fort. From them, it has gone to the hands of Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan, and finally to the hands of the English. I think I've done a good job to start with to preserve the structure. Vishwanath called me that if you want me to take you by auto to Kasargod, I am there. So I told him I'm coming down. I had some buttermilk down there. And then Vishwanath came and picked me from the fort gates and took me to the Chandragiri Fort. Chandragiri Fort is 5 kilometers from this Bekal Fort towards Kasargod. We see that Bekal Fort also can be accessed through Kanyangat. Kanyangat. Bekal Fort somewhere is midway between Kasargod and Kanyangat. Kasargod Kanyangat should be some 40 kilometers or so. Please check up the exact. Vishnu did a good job by taking me to the Chandragiri Fort. Chandragiri is a hilly kind of a structure with a deep descent into the waters to the Chandragiri River. Chandragiri Fort is on the banks of the Chandragiri River. But there's a deep staircase descent towards the river. I don't know, maybe it was largely used for trade. To my understanding, Chandragiri Fort was another fort where a lot of goods were stored and taken care of. Today it's in a slightly bad shape. It also must be some 20 acres of land, but most of it are quite not well maintained. Maintained in the sense a lot of grass growing around, with few structures which you can stand upon and have a look. So definitely this why I made a video was that this fort called Bekal Fort is worth visiting once. Don't mistake it to be a small fort. It's a very big fort, even by any standards. It's twice the size of the Kannur Fort, which is also by modern standards a big fort. But you can imagine what would be the posture of that fort if it's twice the size of Kannur Fort and better equipped with lot of other kinds of paraphernalia. In size, it resembles the Bednur Fort or the Nagara Fort seen in near Shimoga. Then Vishwanath brought me back to Kasargod near my hotel room. I don't know. I think anyone interested in some kind of a serious pastime or a travel should actively consider visiting this fort. Having said that, I've got a small advice to the district administration of Kasargod to think very actively about how this whole bus stand can be renovated in some way to accommodate more buses. It's just a matter of years that that whole place would be so badly saturated. It's very difficult to operate. It resembles the Calicut bus stand some before this new bus stand has come. Calicut bus stand was smaller than Kasargod bus stand, but something must be actively done, proactively done to see that a new and more elegant bus stop can be created at this place. If not renovated and refurbished in some other way. No, I'll admit to you, the bus stand is very good, but the space, with time, the space there for parking buses and also to generally park buses and then park the buses for commuters. These two things are going to be very difficult thing with time. Anyway, that's all about Bekal Fort. If you can visit it, please visit it. Visit Kasargod and from there take a bus to Kanyangat and get down midway. If you want, you can the same place you can just get buses back to Kasargod, which is some 15-20 kilometers, 15 kilometers away from Kasargod town. Thank you very much.